We canceled the trip. We have all the cards. We're not going to spend 15 hours in airplanes all the time going back and forth to be giving a document that was not good enough. And so we'll deal by telephone, and they can call us anytime they want. I'll deal with whoever runs the show. They don't know. They are fighting with each other. There's tremendous infighting. They're probably fighting for leadership. In many cases, I think they're fighting not to be the leader because we knocked out 2 levels of leaders. But I'll deal with whoever we have to. But there's no reason to wait 2 days, have people traveling for 16, 17 hours. And we're not doing it that way. We'll do it when they want. They can call me. We have all the cards. We've won everything. We have all the cards.
Yesterday you said to Reuters that we're dealing with who is in charge now. What changed from yesterday to today? Nothing.
It's just that they gave us a paper that should have been better. And interestingly, immediately when I canceled it, within 10 minutes we got a new paper that was much better.
What was on that paper, sir?
We talked about they will not have a nuclear weapon. It's very simple. Look, that whole deal is not complicated. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. It's very simple.
Is the ceasefire remaining? Will you continue the ceasefire?
Haven't even thought about it yet.
Did they offer anything in return to 20 years of suspending enriched uranium?
They offered a lot.
What did they offer?
They offered a lot, but not enough.
There isn't a single day when the deranged occupant of the White House doesn't face global humiliation for his decision to illegally attack Iran. Today was yet another day of this depraved Israeli slave being humiliated by Iran. Faced with this embarrassment, Trump announced that he would not be sending his 2 Jewish property developers to Pakistan for diplomatic talks with Iranian Foreign Minister Syed Abbas Araghchi. What he didn't tell us was the real reason he cancelled the trip, and that is the Iranian Foreign Minister left Pakistan before Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner could even depart from Washington. That is how Iran treats the so-called most powerful and hottest country in the world. Today's developments in Islamabad turned out to be exactly as I predicted. Araghchi held bilateral talks with Pakistani leaders and then left for Oman before his flight to Russia. However, Trump's White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, was telling the world yesterday that Iran had begged for talks and that Trump was only obliging them by sending 2 prominent Zionists from his administration to Pakistan. This is what she had told us yesterday.
Yes, I can confirm Special Envoy Witkoff and Jared Kushner will be off to Pakistan again tomorrow morning to engage in talks, direct talks intermediated by the Pakistanis, who have been incredible friends and mediators throughout this entire process, with representatives from the Iranian delegation. Look, the Iranians reached out, as the president called on them to do, and asked for this in-person conversation. So the president is dispatching Stephen Jared to go hear what they have to say, and we're hopeful that it will be a productive conversation and hopefully move the ball forward towards a deal.
The same media outlets that acted as stenographers to amplify Leavitt's atrocious claims yesterday reported this today.
Fox News exclusive. President Trump just told our own Aisha Hasni that he has canceled his envoy's trip to Pakistan to hold talks with Iran. Aisha Hasni sending us this direct quote from the president. "I've told my people a little while ago they were getting ready to leave, and I said, nope, you're not going to make an 18-hour flight to go there. We have all the cards. They can call us anytime they want, but you're not going to be making any more 18-hour flights to sit around and talk about nothing." Now, this is significant. It came after the trip earlier in the week where we thought the Vice President J.D. Vance would be going to hold talks was scuttled. So that is breaking news from our own Aisha Hasni. And Alex Hogan is live from the White House with the exclusive details. Alex.
Hi, Aisha. So major shakeup to the negotiations that we didn't expect to see take place today. And this once again shows how delicate these negotiations are, despite the broad international efforts to get everyone to the table at the last hour. Just like this morning, everything can simply fall through. So what we did expect to see, we were waiting to see Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, the U.S. envoys, were going to be leading that delegation today in Pakistan. President Donald Trump, as you mentioned, just telling Fox News' Aisha Hasni today that he has canceled that trip. It comes amid the news that Iran's foreign minister has already left Pakistan. President Trump once again saying that there's no point sending them on an 18-hour flight and that Iran can call at any time.
Even the UK Sky News deluded itself by suggesting that there was still a possibility of talks between Arakchi and the US delegation.
We've learned just in the last few minutes that the US delegation, not even leaving America for Pakistan, after that news that the Iranian foreign minister has now left Islamabad. Where does this leave any talks that were perhaps a possibility yesterday and now clearly aren't going to take place today?
Of course, some were hoping for a rejuvenation of this stalled diplomacy, of course, but we certainly, Jonathan, can say that exchanges and conversations are happening behind the scene.
To be fair, CNN's Nick Robinson was the only one who had raised some doubts about the possibility of these talks. He said this today.
That's Iran's foreign minister there, taking off from Nurkan Air Base on the outskirts of Islamabad. He's been in Pakistan for almost 20 hours. Immediately after he landed, just after midnight, he went into 4 hours of top-level meetings with the Pakistani mediators, the field marshal, the foreign minister, the interior minister. They were discussing and exchanging views about the regional situation. It is not clear why they met in such a hurry in the middle of the night, but it's created the impression that they wanted to try to get an answer or a resolution or something to pass over to the United States to President Trump late Friday evening, US time. Later today, the foreign minister had a meeting with Pakistan's prime minister, again present, those key interlocutors from the Pakistani side, the field marshal, the foreign minister, the interior minister. That meeting lasted for a couple of hours. Now the foreign minister has left. When he came in, he said he wasn't going to have face-to-face talks with the US representatives, that he was going to go on to meetings in Muscat and Moscow. Not clear precisely where he's going. That's all in flux at the moment.
We have some big Iran war updates. Negotiations in Pakistan haven't gotten anywhere again. The foreign minister of Iran went to Pakistan, left without meeting the U.S. delegation. There was some reporting that Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner from the United States were supposed to go to Pakistan. It doesn't appear that they've even left Miami yet. So here's where we're at. The ceasefire that Donald Trump extended again expires allegedly tomorrow. Right now, there's going to be no negotiations in Pakistan between the Iranians and the United States. The Iranians met with Pakistani officials and left. They were like, we're not meeting with the United States. The United States is still imposing this naval blockade. And well, here's what's happening. Donald Trump is desperately looking for an off-ramp here. He knows this Iran war is not popular for him right now. And so he may just continue extending this ceasefire until people forget about the war in Iran. Because it's not like negotiations are going really anywhere right now. We'll see what happens next. As always, spread.
This is huge breaking news coming in. President Trump has just told Fox News that he has canceled Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff's planned trip to Pakistan for peace talks with Iran. Meanwhile, the foreign minister of Iran, Abbas Araghchi, arrived Pakistan, met the mediators, and sent some important points and deals to U.S. through Pakistan negotiators. After that, he shared a very important message in this post on X saying, "It was a very fruitful visit to Pakistan. We have shared workable framework with the U.S. to permanently end the war on Iran. Have yet to see if the U.S. is truly serious about diplomacy." After that, President Trump posted on his Truth Social saying, "I just canceled the trip of my representatives going as Islamabad, Pakistan to meet with the Iranians. Too much time wasted on traveling, too much work. Besides which, there is tremendous infighting and confusion within their leadership. Nobody knows who is in charge, including them. Also, we have all the cards, they have none. If they want to talk, all they have to do is call." Now the big question is whether this was a negotiating tactic to pressure Iran or a sign that diplomacy is collapsing again. The next few hours could decide whether talks restart or the conflict moves toward an even more dangerous phase. Make sure to follow for latest updates.
Does Iran have the upper hand? Well, from here in Islamabad, it's clear that Tehran is in no rush to do a deal with America or to sit down and share a table with the other side. It's playing a cautious, careful, calibrated game of chess. And Pakistan, meanwhile, is doing all it can to bring the two sides together. But it is a huge ask. Just listen to what this career diplomat here told me.
We need to manage expectations. There are no quick fixes here. So the world should not be looking for Pakistan to perform some sort of a diplomatic miracle,
There are no miracles on show just yet, but there is some movement, and both sides still seem to trust the mediators here. Now, sources tell me that Iran's foreign minister has passed on Tehran's demands to be handed over to America before he jetted off to Muscat and Moscow. They include, I'm told, an end to US attacks, an end to the US blockade of Iranian ports, and an end to any talk of full nuclear dismantlement. This weekend, the US was about to get its turn in Islamabad, but Donald Trump has now pulled the plug on his negotiators Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff going to Islamabad, saying he doesn't know who's in control in Iran anymore and doesn't want them wasting time. But he insists if Tehran picks up the phone, he is ready to talk. Face-saving or strategic, it does delay any deal.
Breaking news just minutes ago, Trump has canceled U.S. talks with Iran and Pakistan. In a major setback, U.S. President Donald Trump has called off the planned trip of American envoys to Islamabad, dealing a serious blow to peace efforts. According to Reuters, key negotiators Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner were supposed to travel to Pakistan for fresh talks with Iran, but that plan is now scrapped. So what happened? Reports say Trump made the decision after no progress was seen in recent negotiations and growing confusion over Iran's leadership and position. This comes just as Iran's foreign minister had already left Islamabad without any breakthrough, raising doubts about whether diplomacy is even working right now. But here's the bigger picture. The US-Iran conflict is still active, the ceasefire remains fragile, and key issues like the Strait of Hormuz and nuclear program are still unresolved. Officials say talks could continue remotely, but for now, face-to-face diplomacy has hit a wall. Right now, this is a major turning point, because if negotiations keep failing, the chances of escalation rise again. The world is watching closely. More updates coming soon.
We have some big news right now. Donald Trump just canceled Jared Kushner's trip to Islamabad, Pakistan, saying that too much time, too much work. The negotiations with Iran are seemingly falling apart if they haven't already. Here's where we're at. This is what Trump said just minutes ago. I just canceled my trip. My representatives going to Islamabad, Pakistan to meet with the Iranians. Too much time wasted on traveling, too much work. Besides which, there is tremendous infighting and confusion within their leadership. Nobody knows who is in charge, including them. Also, we have all the cards. They have none. They want to talk, all they have to do is call President Donald J. Trump. Problem with that is the United States actually doesn't have all the cards, right? And I've said this a long time. Iran may not have a nuclear weapon in the conventional sense, but the Strait of Hormuz is a nuclear weapon. And if Iran keeps the Strait of Hormuz closed, the global economy is severely impacted, as are Donald Trump's poll numbers here in the States. And so Iran does hold a critical card here. Now, Trump's ceasefire with Iran, that ends tomorrow, allegedly. We'll see if he pushes it again. But at least right now, he's saying too much work to go to Pakistan. Spread the word. Follow for more.
Too much time wasted on traveling, too much work. That's what President Donald Trump said when he announced that he is no longer sending a delegation to Pakistan this weekend for talks with Iran.
We're not going to spend 15 hours in airplanes all the time going back and forth to be giving a document that was not good enough.
His announcement comes as Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner were expected to travel for potential negotiations. Trump is now blaming infighting in Iran for derailing those talks. In a Truth Social post, he wrote in part, "Nobody knows who is in charge, including them. Also, we have all the cards. They have none. If they want to talk, all they have to do is call." There are a lot of remaining questions. In an interview with Axios, Trump said that this decision did not signal a return to fighting. In fact, he said, "We haven't thought about it yet." And just to highlight how fast things have been changing, on Friday, here at the White House, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt told reporters that they had seen some progress from the Iranian side and that the delegation would be traveling to hear them out.